Hi, this video is called Busy Guillotine, and I had to look up the spelling of guillotine because it's French and it's really written as guillotine, but and this video is extremely strange, and I pray that I will not get my ass kicked somewhere down the line before people figure out what it really portends. This video has to do with some events that will unfold in the United States that are very similar to what happened during the Iranian Revolution and shortly afterwards. Okay, so some philosophers, they say that history repeats itself, and I think that it repeats itself with a lot of analogies, but not exactly. So the reason that I think that the Iranian Revolution and afterwards is going to repeat in some form or another in the United States is just a lot of underlying anger and frustration. And if you look at the political process and what's going on, and you see that there's a tremendous frustration by voters, by constituents, just anybody, and it's like you have a pot of water and there's this massive fire going on underneath the pot. You can reason that this pot is going to boil to hell. You know what I mean? Because there's a entropy, there is energy down there that's just wants to come out in one form or another. And this is the basis for revolutions and a lot of political violence. Okay, the reason I think that there is a lot of problems here is that for many years the stupid bourgeoisie and super rich and the corporations and the government have been exporting American jobs or American wealth to foreign countries, waging wars, and so that is like it has been building up. Okay, right now, because of all the layoffs and all the changes that are due to technology and algorithms and the stupidity of many companies, there are very few good jobs. I was just going to Del Taco, and I had argument with my son. He's ready to beat me up to get gas money to go to LA. Okay, so so I did give, very reluctantly gave him money, and then I was going to Del Taco to buy some tostadas, and then there was this white guy. He was by all means he looked like my son in age, and if I saw this guy like 10 years ago, I wouldn't think that he was anything besides the manager of like a convenience store or like a hiring manager or this or that, right? But he asked me for change because he was just sitting by the side of the taco, and I was so pissed off at my son, and I was just didn't want to give him anything. Anyhow, I went in and I bought some tacos and all that, and I came out and I gave him $1. I didn't want to give him change. So this is where society is at. Many people, young people that otherwise would not be on their faces, they're struggling real bad, and there are few prospects for good jobs and few prospects for economic developments. This is a lot of angry people, and some of the anger is often directed at me because I am foreigner and I do look foreigner, and they say, hey, well, why the fuck are you? You got money to go and you're hanging out. You dressed up well. You don't look like you're worried about anything. Oh, look here, I'm white and I'm young. I should be the one doing that. You should be in the doghouse. So I think the society is going towards some kind of violent political upheaval and or changes. And I think the way it most probably will happen, and I'm not God, I'm just psychic. I have seen this happening before. I'm just projecting that this might happen. Well, at the end of Shah's time, a lot of people were complaining that there was so much corruption, so much of the national wealth was being stolen by Darbar. That's what they called the Shah's court, Darbar. And his family was taking over all kinds of industries, and people were just very pissed. Shah knew this because he was prosecuting or grabbing people and putting them in secret camps, and but through SAVAK, that's our CIA, our former CIA. Now it's changed, and they don't call it SAVAK anymore. They call it SAVAMA. That's another acronym. Anyhow, I think that something similar is happening here in the United States. The United States government has an extensive surveillance and secret police. They call themselves NSA or all kinds of different alphabet soup names and numbers. Anyhow, they know that society is extremely pissed off. Okay, they are not idiots. U.S. government employs the highest number of mathematicians in the world. Okay, mathematics is a form of prophecy, a form of being an oracle. Okay, even though it's not called by these old names, but it is a form of predicting the future. For example, I read that the U.S. government can tell when there is social upheaval or discontent by analyzing the data from social networks or whatever. They know things are going in a very bad direction. And the other thing that happened towards the end of Shah's time is the attempt by the government to pacify all these people that were extremely pissed. For example, in Iran, the bazaar, which is the old style merchants and shopkeepers, they were getting hammered left and right. They were stuck with all the police state and all the regulations the government was imposing, and they were getting none of the new business, all the new industries. And the Shah and his friends and family were beneficiaries of that. So it's exactly what's happening here. Many traditional businesses, old capitalist systems, or entrepreneurs that they don't have political clout, they cannot muscle their way. They're stuck with all the old industries and the old this and that. And I think Trump kind of represents them, and they're extremely pissed. Okay, and we are not even talking about population. We're talking about old school merchants, and then the young people in Iran at the time, they had few prospects of making it because of inflation, because all the money was being stolen in one form or another, a huge amount of corruption in all aspects of government services. It totally sucked. When I was leaving in 1977, I had to pay the clerk that was preparing my passport some money, so he would do a good job and not make me wait for 6 months. Okay, this is how bad it was, up to the level of clerks. It was out of control. So I was pretty happy to leave, and I was out in like Indiana or New Hampshire. I was studying English and doing this and that. I was taking courses, and everything totally fell apart in Iran. I mean, even Shah had instituted a forum. They call it Commissione Fesad Mali, the Commission for Financial Fraud and Mismanagement. And this commission was trying to placate the people, and they did very little. It's very similar to what's happening with the courts and the government. There's all these banks that are stealing all this money and committing all kinds of fraud. And the government, for example, Eric Holder didn't want to first prosecute the many banks. So it was like a similar way, widespread corruption and theft and fraud and you name it. We had the same situation going on. So, and this had been going on for many years. So there was a lot of resentment in the population, in the merchants aspect of society, and on top of all of that, the Shah's government had done a very good job of suppressing intellectuals and newspapers. So, and you can see the same with the United States, that the media is totally rigged, and there's no voice of dissent. So I think we are at the same juncture that the Iranians were in like 1977 or 78. Like, this is a powder cake. I mean, what I'm telling you with this title, Busy Guillotine, is that this thing is going to blow up very bad economically, with all this fraud. It's going to blow up politically, and the Iranian people, they hate wars, and the only thing Shah had going for him, he wasn't trying to initiate World War III or getting to divert people's attention by going to war with Iraq, or he was trying to manage the shit that he had done. So, but the United States has it even worse. They are starting to wars with Russia. But the point of this video is that I'm trying to speculate, okay, of the most likely trajectory of what's going to happen, and I want to speculate about the people that are going to get they're going to get executed. They're going to get caught, and they're going to get the guillotine, or equivalent of the guillotine. You follow what I'm saying? So I mean, this video is just a prophecy for the most likely people that will go on the gallows. You know what I mean? In my opinion, what's going to happen is that the Clintons or the establishment, they're going to try to rig the election, okay? And if it doesn't work, then they're going to assassinate Trump, okay? So there is dispute and there is some kind of civil strife. People are going to get on each other's case, okay, and then the system is going to, the establishment is going to lose control. There came a point at the Shah's government that he lost control, okay, he knew it. So he took his family and got the hell out of Iran. And the government didn't last even 2 months or a month, okay. So there will come a point that the establishment and the banks will lose control because either of economic collapse or many very angry people. It just is going to get totally out of hand. All right. So there will be a temporary regime right afterwards. Okay. I do believe that in the United States it's not going to be a unified temporary regime. The place is going to fall into pieces, like Texas or Utah or New England. But you know, for a little while there will be a little temporary regime, and these frustrations that people have with the bankers, with the bourgeoisie, with the Jews, it's gonna mushroom. So these are the institutions or people that I think that they're gonna get executed, or they're gonna find their way into long-term prison. I think that many insiders, the military and government officials, they have very high probability of getting assassinated or ending up in prison or getting executed. Many bankers, many high-ranking officials, likewise. It goes ditto with many executives of corporations or CEOs. And let's not forget the Israel Zionists. They are like the underlying engine that provide the credit, all this crap to do all these wars. And I think the Jews will really get it this time. That's just a projection. And the other group of people that I think they will get executed. I think many Saudi member families, many of the royal families and royal individuals for many of the mini states like Qatar or Oman or Kuwait, they will totally get it. And many of these places will be governed by Shura, like the Islamic rule prescribes some form of democracy. It's called Shura. And the other group of people that are going to get zapped are people who have been lying all these years, like the media or anyhow. I think there was a quote in a book that was talking about quantum mechanics, and it was saying, if you are not totally pissed off and outraged with quantum mechanics, that means you didn't really get you really didn't get it, okay? I mean, I think I might just mothball this video, but I want to go over some other issue. When it was 1978, and I wanted to see my father and mother, and I went to Iran for the summer right after the government had fallen, right after Shah had fallen. And I was there for one summer, and I had a lot of respect for my dad. he told me, Hassan, please don't come back here anymore. This place got real problems, and things are gonna be very violent for a while. And I took his advice to heart. But he told me afterwards, when I was back here safely, that he thought that I was one of his best kids, and I will succeed every time, because I took his heartfelt advice to heart. And my mother also told me many years later that she felt that I was one of her best kids. I didn't cause her any heartache or pain. If a place is going to the dogs, you should think about kind of doing something different. I think that many foreign countries and individuals and groups are going to do far better than the United States, because we are going to be paying for our karma here. It's not going to be pretty for many years, and there is a political disintegration. Who knows what's going to happen after that? But if you're a risk management guru, you should not look at money or where investments are or what is going to happen. You should look at karma and look at who has done the worst transgressions, worst crimes. And there's only few groups that qualify. I realize that whatever you're doing with these groups is gonna just totally fall apart. In my other video, I talked about this. The first group of the most egregious culprit is the U.S. government and its institutions and all this stuff. The second one is Federal Reserve and the monetary gurus that have created this mess. And the third group is Zionist criminals and the State of Israel. And the fourth group is the Wahhabis and these little Gulf states that have started all these wars and done all this. These four groups of people, they're gonna really get it. And you should not hold investments or relationships with them. It's like being on Titanic. If you have a little sense, you realize, like my dad, that the place has got a lot of problems. You put your favorite son elsewhere. You follow what I'm saying? And thank you very much for your patronage. And hope that you will not turn violent on me once you understand what this lecture was all about. Thank you.